We're going to go ahead and get started. We're going to do cat-cow on all fours. So we're just going to go back and forth from a thoracic flexed position to thoracic extension and just kind of letting our body do what it needs to do here. So tuck your chin and arch your back as big as you can on your way up, and then let that chest fall towards the ground and lengthen your neck on during the other direction. We're going to do this about 5 times, but stay here as long as you need to, and just kind of go back and forth in this position. Next, we're going to bend one elbow and rotate that side up towards the ceiling. So your elbow is going up towards the ceiling and you're rotating back and forth to get some rotation in that thoracic spine. This should feel like a pretty good stretch in the middle of your back. Now you're going to do the same thing on the other side. Again, stay here as long as you need. I'm doing 3 to 4 on each side. My right side is a little bit tighter, so I'm doing 1 more on that side. Next, we're going to go into child's pose. You're just going to sink back into your heels. Your knees are wide and your hands are out in front of you. This would be a good time for someone to put their hands in gentle pressure on your low back. That feels really nice if you have a second person. Then you're going to go over to one side and really lengthen the opposite side body. And now we're going to go over to the other side. Take a few deep breaths here. This feels really nice. That pressure can stay on your low back and you should feel your breath going into your low back. Then I'm going to bring my knees together. Elbows are going to come right in front of my knees. I'm going to bring one hand behind my back and rotate that shoulder up towards the ceiling. We're doing another thoracic rotation here. I'm just rotating up towards the ceiling and then back all the way down to my knee to get both extension and flexion rotation. I'm going to switch sides. Again, you can stay on one side as long as you need to. It shouldn't be painful, but it should feel like a good stretch for your middle back. You can tell my right side is quite a bit tighter than my left, so I could stay here a little bit longer if I needed to. I'm going to keep going here. Keep breathing throughout this whole mobility routine here. The next stretch we're going to go into is hip 90-90. So the foot in front of you is, or the leg in front of you is at a 90 degree angle from your hip, and then same thing with the other leg. You're going to sit down into the back hip and then lean forward over that front leg. We're going to do that twice. So sit back into that back hip. You should feel a good stretch pretty deep in that hip, and then you're going to lean forward over the front leg. Then we're going to switch sides after this, so then you can just kind of roll over to the other side. I didn't have quite enough room here, so I just switched my legs around like this. So I'm going to sit back into that back hip first, really get a good stretch there. Take a few deep breaths and then come forward over that front leg, getting a good stretch in the outside of that hip. We're stretching internal and external rotation. These muscles are deep in the pelvic floor and right outside the pelvic floor in the glutes. So it really gets both sides there. Okay, then we're just going to go into internal and external rotation. You can use support from your hands. So I'm sitting back kind of on my sacrum tailbone area and then just windshield wipering my legs back and forth side to side. Next, we're going to do adductor rocks. So you're going to bend one knee and then bring the other leg straight out to the side of you. And you're going to stay on your hands to start and rock back and forth. If that feels good, you can go down onto your elbows and rock back and forth there. Do as many as you need to there, and then we're going to switch sides. Again, start on your hands, see how that feels, and then if that feels good, you can always go down to your elbows for a little deeper stretch. Make sure you're breathing and rocking back and forth to get that whole adductor. Keep going there. Okay, the next one we're going to do is a hip flexor stretch. You're going to bend both knees. One knee is straight down on the ground, and then you're going to tuck your butt, get those hips underneath you, and then raise your arm up over top. Then we're going to go into a runner's lunge and rotate one arm up overhead, the one closest to your leg. Go into a hamstring stretch. Just keep watching me here. You're going to go back and forth from a hamstring stretch to a hip flexor stretch in that runner's lunge position. And then I'm going to raise back up and go back into that runner's lunge with a thoracic rotation. Now we switch sides. Hip flexor stretch to start. Tuck your booty, lean forward, and then bring your other arm up and over to get the side body. Then you're going to put your arms on the inside of your foot, lift that back knee, and rotate towards the knee that's up. Then we're going to lean back into a hamstring stretch, hip flexor stretch, back into that hamstring stretch and hip flexor stretch. Stay here as long as you need to, and then raise that back knee up and rotate one more time. You guys did great. Good job on your 6-minute mobility.